I thought I would talk about my first tattoo experience. I'm gonna just hop up onto the bed so you can sort of see what it looks like now that it's all healed, because I can show you. So this is what it looks like. It's this little owl and he's on a branch and it's got these tiny little cherry blossoms on, and every time I look at it I kind of just die at the detail in it. I just think it's so amazingly well drawn. Basically I went to a place called Erie Ink. It's in the West Midlands. I will link it down below, and I had the apprentice called Sophie do my tattoo. Basically it was my first tattoo and I'm 25. I had it as a birthday present. I kind of saved up my own money and had a bit more from people, so that paid for it. It cost £150, but she's since put up her prices to £200 a day, and I paid her extra money anyway because I thought she just did a brilliant job. I did tip her, so it came close to £200 anyway. But yeah, it's basically, I paid for an all-day sitting because she was like, it's going to take me a while, because she wasn't quite sure on how long it would take me, because it was like kind of a big detailed piece. I saw the design and I knew I wanted it, and there was supposed to be like a moon behind it and everything as well, and it just looked too much all in one. So we took the moon off and we played about with it a little bit, and I mean it didn't even start off as an owl to begin with. It was like a blue tit or something, and then it just snowballed into this like owl instead, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's ideal for my first tattoo. Like, you know, I love owls, and I really wanted flowers added on because it just had these tiny little berries on the branch, but I changed them to flowers, and she was really accommodating and really good and really gentle, like for a tattooist, so it was really nice. But basically I'll talk you through what it was. I had a almost 7 hours sitting, and when she found out it was my first tattoo, even she was like, ooh, are you sure you want to do it? But yeah, I paid for it and everything, so anyway, yeah, I sat down and she started up a machine and everything, you know, sounds like they do, and they sound scary, but it actually wasn't that bad. I kind of prepared myself for a bit of pain, so I knew, you know, I was expecting pain, but it actually isn't as painful as I thought it was going to be. It's actually a really, bizarrely for me, it's like a really enjoyable experience. It kind of felt a tiny little bit like cat scratches, but there was like all the vibrations from the machine that kind of gave it like a tingly, tickly feeling, and yeah, she had a really gentle hand, so I actually could have fallen asleep. I'll pop some pictures in, but I'm going to look at them on my phone at the same time, so I kind of know where I am while I'm talking through it, because I took photos throughout the whole experience really. So we will start off with, right, yeah, so the first thing that we did was positioned it, and you know, it took a while for us to get like the right placement and stuff, but that was fine. We put the transfer on and basically started the outline. All my outline was literally around the owl and the branches. There wasn't a lot of outlining to do because most of it would be shading work, so the outline is apparently the bit that hurts the most, but like for me it wasn't that bad because I didn't have a lot of outlining done. Then she started doing like the eyes and the stuff, and she had to keep going over that, and that was, it was a bit sore but nothing comparable. The most painful parts were when she was doing like long lines in like one go without like stopping and starting. And it was painful when we were doing fine work, like smaller pinpoint work, but you know, a few hours in I ended up with this, like, you know, almost done owl, like just the chest really that needed to be done, a couple of bits on the branches, and she'd go from doing like part of the owl to part of the branches to part of the owl to part of the branches, because she said herself, from concentrating on doing such precise work on like the owl itself, she needed a break from doing it all the time, because it started to look fuzzy. But so she really managed it well herself for doing the tattoo and making sure that she didn't make mistakes and like stopping when she thought she was looking at a particular part for too long. She had this picture for reference on my leg, so she did the outline in the stencil, and then all of the detail was took from this picture. So yeah, so she took all the detail from this picture, and it just really came together really well. At about 6 hours I started to feel it, and I was kind of like getting there going, oh my god, please be over soon, because this is starting to hurt. It's really taking its toll on me. I started to kind of like get dead legs as well, which was you know, it was like pins and needles, and plus like this scratching pain. And then when we were doing the highlighting, because it was just one very fine needle, oh my god, that hurt so much. It wasn't really a lot I could do, because we were almost at the end, and I was like, I don't want you to stop because it's hurting me. I want you to carry on, because I didn't want to come back later on and have to go through it all again, because we'd had a break during the middle of the day, and I didn't take any food with me to eat, just kind of like snacks and sports drinks to keep my energy up. But I got to like that halfway point when we had, well, it wasn't really a halfway point, it's kind of like 4.5 hours in, something like that, and we had this like 10-15 minute break, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna stop again, because this is starting to hurt, it starts to sting, and then like, you know, they wipe it off and all sorts of stuff, and you stop just going, okay, I just want it to be finished now, because even though it's amazing and it's looking brilliant, like, the pain's starting to get to me. So yeah, I really got to that point by the end of it, and I was like grimacing and putting faces, and like my partner turned up for like the last hour or something, and he kept laughing at me because he could tell it was getting to me, but I didn't want to say anything. Because I just wanted it to be over. But it was really good. Then I had it bandaged up, and I went home and applied. I brought the Panthen. Like, I didn't apply anything for the first day. I hopped in the shower the next day, and I had this Sanex antibacterial wash that I just you kind of just lather it up in your hands, and then I dab it on and then rinse it off. I wouldn't put any water on it directly, because you shouldn't really do that for the first few days. And then just like sort of like put a bit of cream on, and then you dab it over the top of the affected area. Don't rub, because you'll disturb things. But yeah, that's what I used. And then it goes really shiny, and then a bit dull, and then like the peeling starts to happen. I fully peeled and healed by about 3 weeks, something like that. But basically it's kind of disgusting. It's kind of like sunburn when that starts to flake off, but you can't touch it, so it flakes off and then falls off in these big chunks, and it's disgusting, and you can't do anything about it, and you're not allowed to submerge your tattoo in water for like 3 weeks, I think it is. I mean, like, you can get it wet. You can get your tattoo wet, but you can't actually like submerge it in water. You have to kind of just sprinkle water over it so it keeps clean and stuff, but you can't actually submerge it in water, so there was no baths for me for like a month. And I really like my baths lately. I used to have like a pamper bath, but I couldn't do that. But like the finished product, it was just so worth any kind of pain that I went through for it. I'd say you have to be prepared for, like, when you have your tattoo, it's going to look really bright and the black's going to look really black, and then all the colours are going to be so pigmented. It's going to look amazing like the first hour or so, but then when your skin starts to layer over and it flakes off and then you get new skin over the top of it, it doesn't look as bright, it looks duller. Mine faded by about 60%, something like that. She said it would fade by, mostly because your skin isn't translucent, it puts a film over it, so it's kind of dulled a little bit. And the other reason is when you first have a tattoo and you look at it, there's still ink sitting on the top of your skin, so you're seeing fresh ink rather than ink that's been put in your lower layers of skin. But yeah, that's it really. Aftercare is just keep it moisturised, don't do it too much, don't get it wet, don't go in the sun with it, don't go in the swimming pool with it, all of that kind of stuff. And I still apply moisturiser to it every day, because I want to prolong the life of my tattoo. And I use SPF whenever I'm going outside. I use, like, you know, SPF 30 on it all the time because I don't want it to fade. Sunshine is like your tattoo's worst friend. But yeah, other than that I can't really think of anything. So if you have any questions about tattoos or anything, you know, just leave your comments below. I mean, like, you know, first tattoos are scary, but I think as long as you prepare and you know, like, okay, it's not going to be a pleasant experience, let's say, it's going to be different because everyone's pain threshold is different. I think I found it really, like, you know, like I said, I could easily have fell asleep for the first few hours, but afterwards kind of hurt a bit. But it just depends on everyone's own pain threshold, and obviously finding a good artist is key for tattoos, because I knew I didn't want mine to be done by just anyone. I wanted it done by someone who's really amazing at what they do, and Sophie really enjoys tattooing owls and birds and grey and black, and that's what I wanted, so I went to her for it. And I can't wait to get another one. I'm going to get one on the other side, on my other leg, and maybe a half sleeve, which is kind of going to be Disney inspired. I don't know yet, it depends when I can afford them, really. But yeah, that is my tattoo experience, my first tattoo. It was a very long experience. I'd suggest something smaller for your first tattoo. But the thigh is actually a really good place to have it because it's kind of fatty and it doesn't hurt so much. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for my first tattoo experience. It was good, I enjoyed it, and I'd have lots more if tattoos weren't so expensive. But I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!